54 years old, right? 100,000. At that time, cost what? 121, right? Now, at that moment, you ain't think like, well, he's paying 173. All right, 121. Well, we just saved them over 50 bucks, 52 bucks to be exact, right? So I just gave him 100,000 for $121. The 52 bucks, because it's the same money that he's already spending. I'll show Mr. and Mrs. Client. You could get 100,000. At that time, with me out of set with you in 2016, would have cost you $121. I mean, Mr. and Mrs. Client, we got what, 52 bucks left over. With the $52, we're gonna go ahead and open up a what? A Roth IRA, right? Now, inside of your Roth IRA, you're gonna have a mutual fund. I love using Fidelity, right? So this is one of my favorite Fidelity funds. Come here. We open up the account with $52. And then Mr. and Mrs. Client, we're gonna go back to what? September of 2016. And every month, Mr. and Mrs. Client, you're saving $52 inside of your Roth IRA with your mutual fund. Now, at that moment, sit down, right? And he said, Mr. and Mrs. Client, it's the same plan that you see here. You're paying $173 a month for what? $100,000 of coverage. This is what you cover for. It's the same money. $100,000 of coverage, but the difference is this. I gave you the same $100,000 of coverage for how much? $121. The same money that you're spending. We took the difference and we put it in the mutual fund. So I sat back down with you in September of 2016. So I go to this page here, I showed them. See, we opened up the account in September of 2016. And every month, we're saving what? $52, $52, $52. So the $50 plus the $121 you're paying for your life insurance is the same $173 that you already was spending. But I'm just saying, if you would have sat down with me in 2016 September, this is what I would have done for you, right? Now, we come here, Mr. and Mrs. Client, we opened up your savings account, September of 2016. Saving $52 a month is $624 a year. So, in the last 8 years, the last time you put money was in July of 2024. The last 8 years, you'd have put a total of how much away in the account? Almost $5,000. But when we go check the balance, you have a total balance of how much in the account? So, Mr. and Mrs. Client, with me, you're covered with the same what? 100,000. But here, 8 years later, you would have a total of how much in the cash value that you can take? 5,000, 11,000. Mr. and Mrs. Client, do you feel like $6,000 is enough of a difference of like, wow, man, the lack of information, I could have really had $6,000 more in my savings? Because at the end of the day, you paid $16,000. At least you'd have had $11,000 with me instead of what? The same $16,000 you gave them, you lost $11,000. That's what I could have did for you. Now, at that moment, Mr. and Mrs. Client, the problem is we're not what? We're not 54 years old anymore. Right? Yeah. For sure. We're sick. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I think Suku's responding as a client, you know. Even if the client say, I'm not educated, you know, I'm like, I don't went along. You know? Man, don't worry, you about to be educated now. You gotta find ways to kind of make, no, I'm about to educate you now. That's why you got me. You know, so Mr. Client, I just tell you this. I'm not saying you have to do business with me. All I'm just saying is, I just showed you if you keep this, what's gonna happen, right? But now with me, Mr. and Mrs. Client, of course, at 64 years old, or 62, I can still make sure your family has what? Money for you. Well, at 62 years old, same 100,000 be what? 164. Now, Mr. and Mrs. Client, the only difference would be is this. We can go ahead and see if you qualify for our insurance. And if you qualify, and depending on your health, you seem like a real healthy guy, you're either gonna pay what? 164, or you might just get a better what? Class. And if you get a better class, you could be paying from 164 all the way down to 156, right? So that still leaves you about a $25 gap room, right? Now, Mr. and Mrs. Client, with that $25 gap room, we're gonna take the $5,000 that you have right now. If you qualify with me, what's the new insurance we're gonna give you? We'll take that $5,286. And put it in a Roth IRA. And then also too, Mr. and Mrs. Client, you know, I'm such a good guy, right? This 15-year term, if I showed you how not to need life insurance anymore, would I be a good guy? Because the $100,000 that you have, right? Would you rather have that in cash, or would you rather have that in insurance?
Cash.
They always say cash, right? Because if you keep the policy that you have, one, by the time you turn 80, it's what? Gone. At least I can help you have some what? Some cash. And there might be times you can save more than $25 a month. But we take that $5,286, and for 15 years, let's just say, so I'll go back 15 years ago, that'll be 2009. We're saving that $25 a month on top of the $2,000 that you got back from your cash value with them. So, Mr. and Mrs. Client, remember I told you guys, mathematically we can't be what? B. Hey, you're 62 years old. 15 years from now, you'll be what? 77. And we know if you keep the policy you have in 3 more years, it's what? Donezo. It's gone. But I just told you that I can help you be what? Cash insured. Because cash insured sounds way better than being life insured, right? Wouldn't you agree?
Yes.
Well, we take that after you qualify with us, we take that $5,000 what? $200 that you have in the cash value. And all we do is easily add another what? $25 every month for the next 15 years. If we would have sat back down in 2009 and you were in the same situation, well, putting that $5,200 in the account plus $25 a month is $300 a year. So in 15 years, we'd have put a total of how much away in the account. But when we check the balance, you got a total balance how much?
99,000.
All I need is a quick look at your driver's license, because I think I don't have to explain anymore, to see if we can get you qualified, because I'm sure this is much better for you. Would you agree?
Yes.
How? How can we be beat? Somebody please explain me how. That's why you need to get your licenses, right? I'm telling you, mathematically, just mathematically, we never could be beat. No way. They're not even gonna have this even with the non-guaranteed over there at that age, right? We can't be beat, right? So someone has this, and someone can get the help. Somebody in your family has this. Your neighbor has this. Your best friend family has this. You know, those of you that need to be in class, get your license. Those of you that already have your license, let's go set these appointments. Let's make these calls and practice. Practice, practice, practice. And I promise you, we can't be beat. We cannot be beat mathematically. Does that make sense? All right.